comprehensive land use plans. Again, this is an amendment that was put there by citizens initiative. The first two we heard from were put there by the legislature. This was put there by citizens initiative. And the text of this amendment is as follows. Establishes that before a local government may adopt a new comprehensive land use plan or amend a comprehensive land use plan, the proposed plan or amendment shall be subject to vote of the electors of the local government by referendum following preparation by the local planning agency, consideration by the governing body, and notice, and provides definitions. Now, citizens initiatives are also required by law to have a financial impact statement as part of the amendment. And so the financial impact statement for Amendment 4 says, the amendment's impact on local government expenditures cannot be estimated precisely. Local governments will incur additional costs due to the requirement to conduct referenda in order to adopt comprehensive plans or amendments thereto. The amount of such costs depends upon the frequency, timing, and method of the referenda and includes the costs of ballot preparation, election administration, and associated expenses. The impact on state government expenditures will be insignificant. So, I would like to introduce to you, speaking on behalf of the yes argument for Amendment 4, I have Ms. Diane Brown, who is representing Hometown Democracy. As Henry said, she's driven over here from Panama City today, so please welcome Ms. Diane Brown.
Thank you very much for having me here tonight. This is the first time I've spoken publicly on Amendment 4, so bear with me a little bit. First of all, I want to explain a little bit for those who don't know what a comprehensive plan is. And you probably know Amendment 4 has to do with a comprehensive plan. Every local government, every municipality, every county in the state of Florida is required to have this comprehensive plan. It's a guide for how development will occur in their communities. A plan is written for a 10-year period. That plan is based on just a substantial amount of data that's gathered, including population projections from the University of Florida, and then all that data is analyzed, and the local governments use that data to determine where commercial land should be located based on your roads, sewage availability, water availability. The same thing with the residential area, and also in the rural areas, where rural areas need to be protected for open, so that you have plenty of open space. And that's what a comprehensive plan is. Now, what Amendment 4 does is that the current process stays in place. It goes up through where officials adopt the an amendment to that comprehensive plan. And then at that point, it would go before the voters to be voted on. First thing I want to really address here is that Amendment 3 is the perfect Tea Party issue. And I was looking at your brochure, and the principles: keep taxes low, ensure responsible spending at all levels, demand transparency and accountability, protect and expand freedom. And I want to address those issues as I go through my presentation tonight. Study after study has shown that residential development, building subdivisions, for instance, it does not pay for itself. The taxpayers end up paying for that development. Their tax dollars are used to build the roads, to run the sewage, to run the water. So we end up paying for a lot of this overdevelopment that's occurring in the state of Florida right now. And it's kind of hard for me. I'm from Bay County. I'm not familiar with your local conditions, so I have to talk about my experience over in Bay County. And I'll give you a perfect example. There's a push on by the county commissioners. They want to go up Highway 77 up into the rural areas. It happens to be the recharge area for our water supply. And they have made all these comprehensive plan amendments up in that area. And now they want to go out and borrow $30 million to run sewage up there into the rural area, to accommodate this development. Most of these land use changes have been for the benefit of one property owner. We should get to vote on where our tax dollars are spent. Let's see. Sorry, Garrett. Cost. It's been said that there could be substantial costs. Well, the reason the impact statement can't really address how much this is going to cost is, number one, we don't know how many plan amendments are going to occur under Amendment 4. Large-scale plan amendments can only occur twice a year. And the plan amendments would go under Amendment 4, they would go on the ballot at your next general election, or you can have a special election. The local government is not required to have a special election. They can put those on a general election ballot. Or if a developer chooses, they could sponsor a special election. That occurred over in Panama City Beach. A developer 4 times sponsored an election or paid for a special election, and he was still voted down on his project by the citizens, by the voters. Amendment 4 does not apply to rezoning. It does not apply to development orders. It only applies to land use changes, which would have the most impact. We believe that there will be a lot fewer plan amendments than there are now, and there really are relatively few plan amendments up in our area. Maybe, well, they can only do it twice a year, 4 or 5 at one time a year, maybe 10 a year at the very most. But when local officials are faced with having the potential of their constituents overturning their decisions on a land use change, that's going to make those local officials think twice about adopting an amendment that is not in the best interest of the public, but it's more to appease a particular land use owner and a lot of times campaign contributors. There's been a lot said about Amendment 4 killing jobs, and that is not true. Most municipalities and counties have already designated enough land when they did their comprehensive plan. They've already set aside enough commercial land, enough residential land in the area that will accommodate development for years to come. Over in Bay County, we had a real construction boom over there in 2005, 2004, and most of those jobs, most of that construction was done by out-of-state construction companies that brought in their own employees. And then, too, they hired a lot of illegal aliens that were on the work sites. These were not jobs that were being held by our local citizens. But the answer to jobs is not overbuilding, but it's to create job diversity, giving our children other opportunities, other options. I'm not used to having so much time. Usually when you get up to speak before a plan amendment at the county commission, you got 3 minutes to get your name, your address, your serial number, then you're out of there. I have left some literature in the back. Please feel free to take some. It explains the good points about Amendment 4. I mentioned it's your principle on freedom, expanding freedom. Amendment 4 will actually give the public a say. We don't really have a say. Like I said, you get up, you could just speak for 3 or 5 minutes before the county commission, and then they go ahead and they vote it anyway, because they've got a major landowner there who's pushing to get this land changed so that they can sell it for a profit. I've heard this over and over again at county commission meetings. Or that they can develop, they can put a subdivision on it or develop it to profit them at the expense of the public. In a lot of places,